told me that she was at the apartment. The victim had went down to go to Subways. When he went to Subways, they began to message each other, and through text messages, they got into an argument over sharing each other's location. He then decides to come back to the apartment. Shortly after he comes back to the apartment, another argument ensues. At that point, the defendant says that the victim grabbed her by the neck, slammed her against the wall. She was able to break free. Then she was going to call her mother, and he didn't want that to happen, so he grabbed her and put her onto the ground. She wasn't able to explain how exactly that happened. After that, she was able to break free once again, at which point she goes to the kitchen. She grabs on a knife, and then she states that the victim ran towards her, and that's when she flung the knife or threw it, and it hit him in the shoulder.
What did anything besides that? Did Ms. Glenn say anything besides that condition of substance? I guess regarding the
no.
So regarding the injuries,
yes.
in this circumstance,
yes.
I want you to tell the court, I guess, how you're evaluating the case. Where are you in your analysis of the facts thus far?
At that point, we were looking at it as a self-defense at first, but then later on, things started revealing that it wasn't what we thought.
So let's talk about that. So at the point in which you finish interviewing her, despite some of the inconsistencies in the statement, you are evaluating the case for a possible self-defense claim.
Correct.
Is that one of the reasons why you document how she looks in her injuries?
Yes.
Okay, so let's parse through that. Did you have crime scene take photographs of her?
Yes.
Direct report, just as general reference to the crime scene photos. Were there bruisings on her?
Yes.
Okay, we can tell the court whether there was bruising.
She had some bruising over on her legs. She had some small bruising to her arms, and that was about it.
Okay. Do you have experience in seeing fresh bruises versus old bruises?
Yes.
Okay. Have you, in this context, right? Just as a human, have you seen bruises?
Objection, Judge. Lack of discipline, lack of prejudice, your opinions. Judge, I believe that the state intends to try to elicit some kind of expert testimony from the detective regarding bruising. That's clearly the purview of an expert. And this, as far as we know, this detective has no medical training. He's not a doctor. He's a detective. So I object to him making any opinions as to when bruises were formed.
So there's a lot of parsing to that, and he's not issuing an opinion as to when a bruise was formed. He's issuing an opinion as to whether it's a new bruise or an old bruise. As human beings, we know what bruises look like in an older bruise versus a newer bruise. Older bruise is darker versus a newer bruise, which is lighter and coming into.
And I'll object to the counsel testifying as well, Judge. He's not an expert either.
Judge, can we approach that part very briefly?
She's claiming self-defense. She had bruises on her legs. The state has evidence that she had bruises on her legs days earlier from photographs of her out dancing. So those bruises could not have been caused, the state will argue, by this event. She was not, Amboncelli was not inflicting bruises on her, injuries to her legs this day. They were already present and so couldn't play a role in a self-defense narrative here.
Judge, just as a separate preliminary matter, I believe the evidence was accepted by the court, and if it hasn't, I'm just moving all of the state's exhibits into evidence.
No, other than the students, no.
And I'll just refer to them as their sub-exhibits, and I believe in evidence there's state's exhibit 1 or 1A. Continuing, did you see bruising?
Yes.
Okay. And that bruising you mentioned it was on the arms and the legs.
Yes.
Did you see any bruising on her neck?
No.
Did you see any hand marks on her neck?
No.
Did you see any bruising coming in from her neck?
No.
Did you see any bruising consistent with her having been grabbed by the neck?
No.
Did you document the area of her neck?
Yes.
And are those, and I guess the photographs that were documented by forensic?
Correct.
You had an opportunity to review Mr. Umuseli's cell phone extraction.
Yes.
As part of that extraction, did you see videos from the same day but earlier before the murder?
Yes.
In those videos, did you see bruises on Miss Clay?
Yes.
You also had an opportunity to review the Instagram Live video that she posted between Mr. Umuseli leaving the apartment and returning.
Yes.
Did you had that opportunity to review that video?
Yes.
And in that video, did you see the bruising on her?
Yes.
Now let's speak specifically. Let's speak specifically about those bruises, right? Let's separate arms versus legs. The bruising on her arms, were you able to see them in the Instagram Live video?
Yes.
And again, that video was posted before this murder occurred.
Correct.
So those bruises were before the murder occurred.
Yes.
Let's talk about the legs. You saw bruising on her legs in the earlier posted video of her dance.
Yes.
In that video, are those the same bruises you saw later that day?
Yes.
So, and then the metadata of those videos were like 10, 11 in the morning same day.
Yes.